Hey everybody, it's Jork. Welcome back. Hope you're doing great wherever you are in the world. I wanted to just get to it here. I've heard from probably, 40, over 40 people just in the last 2 weeks from making a couple of videos recently, either from people who have made comments or people that have emailed me saying, could you please get the word out or, tell everyone else making videos about this, how renewals, it's very hit or miss whether you're going to get your renewal, your residency renewed in Portugal or not. Whether it be the first one, the second one, the third one, the one leading into potential citizenship or permanent residency to where you're at that 5 year mark. We left in August of 2024. And it just so happened that that's when they were, because AIMA couldn't figure anything out. They had moved it, I want to say it was to INE. I may be wrong about that agency as far as the renewals go. And just, again, like everything else with the immigration process, backlogs left and right. And some people have messaged me or left comments going, our renewal went, just fine. I don't see what the big, issue is. We had no issues. There are dozens of people that have visas that expired in 2024 that have no appointment or they're just waiting with expired residency cards for the next steps, which haven't been issued yet, or there hasn't been a date. And even with getting an attorney, because it prompted some of these comments or emails to me prompted a discussion because I said, reasons you should get an attorney. I've made several videos about that. And many of them were going, yeah, well, we have an attorney and it hasn't helped. And I'm going, oh, that's not good. But a lot of my videos recently have been kind of negative towards Portugal, and I don't mean it to be that way, but the immigration process is an absolute dumpster fire. It has been for years, and they're trying to change things. Maybe citizenship has to go to 10 years. Okay, but that doesn't help with the backlog. They greatly reduced the people that could get the tax advantage, the NHR. So we'll see what happens there. Immigration is down mostly because the people that wanted to get the NHR moved last year to be able to get there in time and do it and get underneath in the window of opportunity to be able to do the original NHR. But this is just one more where you got to scratch your head and go, am I really looking forward to moving to Portugal and dealing with this? And I would like to say that every other country is having renewal issues, but in reading Facebook groups and blogs from France and Italy and Greece, people that are in Germany, people aren't having the same types of issues. People may have a problem up front getting the immigration, getting the temporary residency established, and generally an attorney helps with that, but they haven't had issues with the renewal on the back end, where there's more people in Portugal that are being impacted. And it's one way to reduce the backlog, I guess, right? If you want to help reduce the backlog, you just don't handle the renewal. And then the people have to figure out someplace else to live or live with an expired residency visa, which they're not going to do. So that's probably a strategy on Portugal's part, is just there's a percentage of renewals that we're just not going to handle. Whether you have an attorney or not doesn't matter. And that may be a way for them to help with this rut and this backlog that isn't going to go away because it's Portugal and it's their bureaucracy. And a final point about this, what's funny to me in a way is I have a good friend that lives in Villarreal de Santo Antonio. So if you don't know it, it's in the Algarve, eastern part of the Algarve. It borders Spain. You can really look over and see Spain or walk across the bridge and you're in Spain. And he wanted to go to Spain and live there. That's where he wanted to do his retirement. But it was just a pain getting anything done over there that Portugal, when he decided to move, was much easier. It took several months versus waiting almost 2 years and no activity on Spanish end. Well, now he has friends that are looking to move to Spain or Portugal, and he's looking at it, and they're going through the immigration system, and they're getting in or getting renewals done more expeditiously in Spain than they are Portugal, where Portugal was the less bureaucratic or less hassle. It's now becoming more of a hassle. And Spain, of all things, is becoming less of a hassle, which I never thought I would say that, because I've heard people tell horror stories about trying to move to Spain and ended up moving to Portugal instead. But please, what is your experience? And if you don't want to comment on that, I understand that. But please send me an email, because it just seems like there's more people than not that are having issues getting their renewals done. And I'm just curious, what the reasoning may be behind that, other than it helps Portugal get rid of their backlog. But it doesn't help the people that really want to be there. And that's what sucks, is the people that have messaged me aren't ones that are trying to get a citizenship and leave. They want to be in Portugal and they want to live in Portugal, but Portugal does not want them in Portugal based upon how they're treating them, which is disappointing. But it also is a way that people, immigrants going there, should realize this is how Portugal's going to treat you. So again, you need to have your eyes wide open and you need to be cautious about that. And I would say that about any country that you're moving to. Doesn't matter. My background has been living in Portugal and knowing more about it than other places. But just know that at any point in time, that country may go, "Beep, we don't want you here anymore." Whether you did anything wrong or not is not material to that conversation. So just keep that in mind as you're considering a move to another country, that, again, you're a guest there until you get to the point of citizenship or permanent residency. And still, even with permanent residency, you still are, I think, a guest in many ways. But what say you? I'm very curious to hear what your plight is if you've done renewals or in the renewal phase. I'd love to hear what's going on with it. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch. Enjoy your travels.